Well, hello everybody and welcome to another video tutorial. My name is Peter Drakulic, and in this tutorial I would like to show you how you could actually take advantage of the new masking node available in Blender, and this way you could actually enhance your renderings or image sequences imported into the compositor by selectively masking off some of the parts of your images that you don't want. In our simple tutorial, we're going to do this, to apply this onto a single image, but you could feel free to experiment with render layers, perhaps with imported image sequences and things like that. So here we are presented with the image that I have imported here. It is the same image that I have used for the GIMP tutorial, and I encourage you to go ahead and watch this tutorial as well, which is for GIMP. But what we're going to do now is we're going to apply a sharpening filter to this image. As you can see, if I go ahead and maximize the node editor, I have deleted the default render layer and I have replaced it with this image node here, input node, and I have connected this to the viewer and to the composite node. If you want, you can go down here and enable the backdrop option you have. So you have you have this backdrop here, very useful. All right. And now what we want to do is to actually apply a sharpening filter to this image, but we're going to do so through the use of the masking node. And so we are going to be selectively applying this sharpening effect to our image, because if I now go ahead and add a color mix node, for example, let's add the color mix node and grab yet another instance of your original image here and fit this into the other image input here. And I want this second branch here, all right? I want this to have the sharpen filter. So I'm adding a filter, and from the I'm connecting this here. All right, and from the list of options here, I'm selecting sharpen filter. All right. So now actually I have sharpened this image, the entire image, as you can see here, if I enable the backdrop option. So I have all the entire image sharpened. Perhaps this is something you might not want. So how we can actually limit this effect to the parts of our image that we want actually this to be applied? Well, a first thing we want to do for enhancing this effect is first to go ahead and add a Shift A filter, and from the list of the pop-up list here options, we select Laplace filter. Now we connect an instance of our original image to the input of the Laplace filter. If I now go ahead and add an output viewer node here, you can see that, and connect the image output of the Laplace filter to my viewer and enable the backdrop option, you can see how this filter works actually. What it does is that it detects the edges, all right, in parts of your image with high contrast. So it detects the edges, and this is going to help us for masking or for controlling, if you prefer, how those two unsharp and sharpen it, the unsharp and the sharpen it version of our image or rendering are going to mix together in this node. All right. So if I now go ahead and connect this into the factor here of mixing those two versions of our images, and if I go now ahead and see this node here, you can see that I have this viewer node. You can see that now I have limited or constrained, if you prefer, the effect of sharpening into just those parts of my image around the trees here, and perhaps, but I would like perhaps to work further on this and enhance this even further. So the first thing I want to do is to first go to this viewer node here with the Laplace, and let's name this branch here with the Laplace filter. Let's name this as Laplace image. All right. Okay, so now all I want to do is to add yet another color mix node, okay, and I want to connect this to the output of the Laplace filter here. I want also to grab another instance of the Laplace filter and connect this alright, to this socket here, alright, and I want to change the node, the mix node from mix to add. Now, as you can see, I have greatly enhanced the contrast of the Laplace node. But what I'm going to do now is that in this second branch here, I'm going to be adding a blur, filter, blur, and from the options I select fast Gaussian. Alright, I'm connecting this here. So I want this to be a fast Gaussian node, and I want to set the pixels here for the blur effect to something as low as 2 or 3, perhaps to tab 2. All right, now I have applied this this filter, this fast Gaussian filter, and I want to also go ahead and after the output here, I want to add a color RGB curves, and I want to do so because I want to enhance the contrast of the overall Laplace filter. All right, perhaps now I can work a little bit and add some more, I can try some more blurring here, blur. All right, so I can add the feather around the edges of the Laplace filter. Okay, another thing I want to do is that you perhaps might not want those parts of your image, this, those surface here with the, with the grass here to get sharpened. So how you can actually, mask them off? You can do this by adding a mask node here. But before that, we have to, of course, add the mask to our image. So you can do this. You can add masks in your images or movie clips by going either to the UV image editor, which is here by default present here, or you could go to the movie clip editor here. And the first thing you want to make sure is, before starting adding masks, is you want to make sure that the dimensions of your scene are exactly the same, match exactly the dimensions of your imported footage. So you go up here to the render panel here, and you go down here where it writes dimensions. As you can see, by default this is something it has a default preset like this one, okay, all right, by default, and it's set by default to 50%, this this percentage here. But you want to make sure that you have set this manually to exactly the dimensions of the imported footage. In our case, this footage is the image here, so that's why I have opened it, the same image in GIMP. So I'm switching to GIMP, and you can see that we have this image here, open it here, and I go to the image menu up here, and I select scale image, and a pop-up window pops up here, and you can see that the dimensions of our image now is 2304 by 1728. So I want to use this in order to go ahead and set the exactly the same width by height ratio here in my scene. All right, so just type here 2304 tab 1728. Now I have made the same width by height. I have the same width by height ratio for my scene. All right, and I want also to scrub the slider to 100%. That's really very important. All right, now I want to go ahead and add my mask. Actually, first go ahead to the UV image editor and switch over to the already loaded tone mapping PNG image. You can see this here. All right, now I want to switch over from here. Click on this button and switch over to the mask mode. All right, so I'm switching over to the mask mode. And instantly, let's go ahead and close this panel, this window on the right really quick. So I'm presented with the option for creating masks. I'm clicking on the new button here, and I have created actually a mask, but now I have to go ahead and draw that mask actually. So before drawing my mask, and this is really easy for you to do by just starting with a control, hold down control and left mouse click, and you have created your first mask point, as you can see here. Alright, now by continuing by holding down control and keep clicking on the on your image, you have actually you are adding control points. Alright, and now if you wanted to, let's say, close this mask and make this a closed mask, you can press Alt C and your mask now is closed. Alright, now we have created here a very basic mask, as you can see. Alright, and you can always start changing the shape of your mask by selecting nodes with the usual ways we have in the for selecting vertices. For example, you could select B, border select, for example, and select more than one. You could select C for circular select. Alright, or you could perhaps select you could just go ahead and select a control point, shift select another control point, and you could press G to start grabbing them, so you can change the shape of your mask. Alright, so now I have drawn my mask, but I want to see what's going on here, updated in real time almost, when I am in the compositor. And the reason that I made this mask is for controlling controlling which parts of my image are going to get sharpened. So let's go ahead and add this mask here now that I have created in the UV image editor. So press Shift A, add a input mask, and you can see here we have this little mask icon here. With this little mask icon, it is a selector for the masks. Go ahead and add the mask that we have created in the UV image editor. Alright, now I want to go here to the to my Laplace filter, and I want to add a color mix node. Alright, and I want to make the color, the second color, I want to make this something like black. Alright, and now actually I have mixed the Laplace filter with the black color, but with a factor of 1. Well, that's why I actually have drawn my mask in order to this mask controlling the factor of masking between the Laplace filter image and the black color. So I'm connecting this here, and as you can see here, alright, take a look here. By Alt middle click, you can move your backdrop, and you can see how this mask now is controlling the Laplace image. Well, this is not all about that though. I can go ahead and have selected, let's say, one control point here in my mask. I can shift left mouse click, and I can add, actually, as you can see, I can add a what we call a feather, a non-linear feather to my mask. This is the green line, alright, here. And if I go here and I have enabled the feather option here, alright, you can see that I can have this also in my mask here. Alright, so this feather, I can also go ahead and press Alt S, and I can scale those by selecting all the control points that I want. I can scale by Alt S. I can scale the feather, as you can see, Alt S, and I can control this feather the way that I want this to be. I mean, how much? I mean, by Alt S. Okay. So now I want to have this option. Very, very important. You want to have this mask into the scene size instead of fixed or fixed scene option here. Alright, and you want to have the feather option enabled. Another thing you can do is by go ahead and press B, for example, and select all the nodes. You can press Alt S, and you can actually scale scale your feather, actually, which is a second curve, right? And you can scale your feather. Okay, and And if for some reason you wanted to add some more blurred effect, all you have to do is to go ahead and add a simple blur filter to your filter blur, and switch over to fast Gaussian, which is always a good option, and just add to this mask here a 5 by 5 perhaps blur effect, right? Perhaps we should go even more. Let's switch over to relative and make this something 2 by 2 perhaps. And let's see how this works now. So you can add this blurred, as you can see, edge effect around your edges, around your mask edges. So you can now go ahead and just select the control points and just move them. All right, and so you can actually, as you can see, this should be updated in the compositor. You can move them so you can mask off all of your image that you don't want them to have. All right, and you can work both with the control points and the control handles here. As you can see, by moving these control handles, I can change the the curvature here actually. So its control point has a control handle, associated to it. So I can just grab this control handle and I can change actually the curvature of the of this control point. All right. So that's how you can actually shape actually your mask by just clicking and grabbing this this control handle here. You can change the curvature of your mask. So actually we have masked off all this, and you can see this reflected here in the compositor. So all we want to do now is to go ahead and connect this after this final node here with the mix node, the color mix node. I want this to make this the factor for mixing the sharpen it and the unsharpen it version of my image. So I want actually, this is the node of mixing together the sharpen it and the unsharpen it version of my image, and I make this output here, all right, of the Laplace filter. I make this a mask for mixing them together. So you can see now that I have minimized the effect to only those parts around the trees, all right, and in general in those parts that I wanted them to be to get sharpened. Another thing, let me show you. First, I want to add now an output split viewer node, okay, and I want to fit into this the original image here, and I want to fit into this the image after all these nodes here, and you can see that the image here has significantly changed. If I move the slider, right, you can see how much this has now changed. Okay, all right. You can see, for example, let's bring this closer, and by pressing Alt V, you can see the areas, all right, around the, for example, around those you can see the water perhaps that is sharpened significantly compared to the initial image. And especially if you take a look at this grass here, if I scrub the slider, you can see how different now it looks after the sharpening, as you can see. But at the same time, I have my parts here of the image, like here, I have them masked off so they are not affected by the sharpening. So that was a very, very simple, but I hope helpful example of how to use mask nodes. And if you like this, don't forget to subscribe. See you next time with another interesting, hopefully, topic, hopefully soon. Until then, have fun and goodbye.